About 4,500 years ago, on this vast plateau at Giza, the Egyptians began planning one of the greatest monuments ever built. The project was ordered by Pharaoh Khufu, who wanted to create a magnificent royal tomb that would last for eternity. First, Egyptian architects carefully studied the land, searching for the perfect location to support their enormous structure. Using ropes, wooden rods, and simple measuring tools, surveyors carefully marked out the pyramid's enormous foundation. Thousands of workers cleared and leveled the rocky ground, preparing the foundation for what would become a legendary monument. Then the stoneworkers went to the quarries, where massive limestone blocks were cut from the natural rock. With copper tools, wooden wedges, and stone hammers, skilled craftsmen carefully separated enormous blocks from the quarry walls. Teams of workers pulled the heavy blocks across the desert on wooden sledges using thick ropes and incredible teamwork. Workers poured water onto the sand in front of the sledges, helping the heavy stones move more smoothly across the ground. Many limestone blocks traveled by wooden boats along the Nile, bringing essential building materials directly toward Giza. At the riverbank, workers unloaded the massive stones and prepared them for the final journey to the construction site. Now the real construction began. The first enormous limestone blocks were carefully positioned on the prepared foundation. Layer by layer, more stones were added, and the first section of the Great Pyramid slowly began rising from the ground. As the pyramid grew taller, workers built ramps from earth and stone to help move the massive blocks upward. Teams pulled limestone blocks up the ramps on wooden sledges, using ropes, strength, coordination, and careful timing. Chief architect Hemiunu constantly checked the measurements, making sure every level stayed properly aligned and balanced. Pharaoh Khufu regularly inspected the construction, watching as his enormous royal monument slowly took shape. Behind the monument were thousands of workers who spent their days building, eating together, and resting in nearby settlements. Skilled craftsmen carefully shaped each block, creating smooth edges so the enormous stones could fit tightly together. Year after year, the pyramid climbed higher, becoming an enormous landmark visible across the Giza landscape. But moving stones became harder as the pyramid grew. One particularly heavy block created a serious challenge for the workers. Hemiunu and the stoneworkers used wooden levers, ropes, and careful coordination to finally move the difficult block into position. After years of construction, the pyramid was nearing its summit. Only the highest levels remained to be completed. The final stones required extraordinary precision, because every block had to fit perfectly near the pyramid's narrow summit. Finally, the workers lifted the last stone into position, completing the monumental structure that had taken years to build. After roughly 2 decades of work, Khufu's Great Pyramid stood complete, a breathtaking achievement of ancient engineering. The workers who had spent years cutting, carrying, and placing stones could finally look up and admire what they had created. Khufu and Hemiunu stood before the finished monument, watching their extraordinary vision become a reality. As the sun set over Giza, the finished pyramid glowed against the desert, towering above the ancient landscape. Thousands of years later, the Great Pyramid still stands as a remarkable symbol of human ambition, organization, and ancient engineering. Subscribe for more incredible historical stories and comment below.